Hello there, this is MusicMan0150, also known as Gary. And yes, I am back again with yet another video for ya. And today what I'm doing is I took apart all of my components here that I use for digitizing different types of analog media, because first of all, the cords were all tangled up, and secondly, there were a couple cords that I didn't know where they were going. So I thought, oh, let me just tear this all apart and also dust off the desk here. And I'm just now in the process of getting it all back together, and I'd like to show you exactly what I've done so far. All these switch boxes here that you can see have its own purpose. The top one is for the audio selector, which means that box in conjunction with the very bottom box will select different audio sources such as cassette decks, reel-to-reel tape recorder, 8-track tape recorder. Sometimes I might even have a second cassette deck or a second reel-to-reel or an MP3 player or any kind of audio source. The first box on the bottom and then the last box on the top are set up for audio sources. And then the second box right underneath the top one is titled as the video sound selector. Now what that means is anything that has audio along with video. So it could be a video camera, it could be my Roku player, or it could be the output of a computer. And that's exactly what's going to go in that box there. I already have the cables, some of the cables run already, but I'm going to put the rest of them on shortly. And then the third box, the one in the middle here, this one is the output selector, which means I can record to digital to any of 3 computers that are configured for that purpose. So if it's on auxiliary 1, that means I can record audio sources into PC number 2. If it's in auxiliary 2, then I can record digitally into PC 1, and on auxiliary 3 I can record into PC number 4. And the reason I put it in number 4 is because PC 3 has the audio sources from my other PCs, which are numbered 6, and I haven't figured out the number for the white one yet. I think, let me take a look here, because I don't know if I've shown you the computer setup that I have, but here's a couple of the computers here. Going from right to left is number 1, number 2, and number 7. And the reason that one is number 7 is because that one I don't use as much. And then going further to the left, there's number 8, number 9, and number 10. So that's why they're numbered according to that configuration. And then over here underneath the chair, or underneath this desk, are the other 4 PCs that I have. And the black one on the left, that one is number 3. The next one is number 4. The next one is number 6. And actually, that white one, I think I'm going to consider it number 11. Number 11, because it's still in this room. And the reason there's no 5 is because 5 is in my sitting room. And that's why there's no 5 in here. 5 is in my sitting room when I relax at night. So that way I have a computer that I can either transfer digital media to, from analog, or if I want to, maybe play a game online or watch a YouTube video of some sort or anything like that, then I have a computer in there that I can use. So that one is 5. And then the ones in the shop are numbered accordingly there too. But we'll do that. We'll show you that in another video, because what we're concentrating on here is the setup here in the studio. So, as I said, that audio output selector switch is for PCs 7, 1. No, I'm sorry. Well, actually, it is tied into 7 as well, because I have an audio cable, a Y, going from PC 2 to PC 7, so that way I can run audio to number 7 if I wanted to, in case the other 2 are burning CDs or DVDs for clients. And another thing that I have done too, and this is a smart idea for those of you that may be doing a similar setup with all these cables and all these components, is to label them as you go. And so you can see how I labeled this one, so that way I know what it is. And here's a couple others that are labeled as well. Now this one here isn't labeled because this is the only one that I have with a 1/8 inch jack. See, this is the only one with the 1/8 inch jack. The others are the standard RCA jacks, and so that's why I went ahead and labeled all those, so that way I know exactly what we have. And here's a few more over here that you can see that I marked. It's just trying to find the end here, because you could see how they're all just laying on the desk here. But the fortunate thing is, as I was rerouting them and hooking them back up, then I labeled them accordingly. Now this one here, this one's a loose one, and this is actually going to go into this tuner. This component right here is just a tuner. It doesn't have a built-in amplifier, but here's the amplifier that matches it right there. And so that's how I'm going to hook this up. I'm going to take this cable and put the black into the left and the red into the right. And then the other end of the cable is going to go into one of these boxes here, and it's actually going to go here on the top box. And actually, here's a cable that has already been connected to the top box, so I might as well just go ahead and use that cable. So I'll take this out, but that was a demonstration on how to hook up your cables properly. So whenever you hook up audio, always go black left and red right. Now if your cables are a different color, say you get a cable set that is white and red, then naturally white is left and red is right. Usually for audio, red is always the right channel. So as long as you line up your reds for audio on the right, then that's the process of elimination for the other cable or plug, which would be the left. And it could be black, it could be white. Usually it's black or white. Now sometimes I've run into cables where the colors are not actually red, black, or red, white. I've seen gray, orange. I've seen black, gray. I've seen what other colors have I seen? Oh, I've seen black, orange. So the common fact is this: for audio, if black is your most common color, then that's usually the left side. And right is red. And now that's for hooking up components. Now that's different from speaker hookup. Speaker hookups, you want to make sure that the black is the negative. So if you have wires with a stripe on them, then always use the stripe. In my experience, I've always found that if I use the stripe as the negative, then I'm always consistent and everything is right. You know, it's hooked up correctly. And then the plain wire is your positive. So that's just a little tip for you on electronic hookup. So I wanted to kind of show you, how this is all done. And in fact, let me see if I can tip this down. Let me see. Yeah, okay. I was able to lean this forward a little bit. Now you can see how I have all these cables hooked up so far into these boxes. And like I say, each cable is going to be used for a different purpose. And I'll tell you what, once the setup is complete, I mean, it's really, really nice. It's really nice. All you have to do is flip switches or turn dials, and you can get your audio source to whatever you want to listen to or record from or record to. And, it saves a lot of aggravation from swapping cables all over the place. And in case you're wondering what this box is down here, this is a video enhancer. And what this allows is, say if you have family memories on film, 8mm film or super 8mm film, say if you have family memories on that kind of a film, it's not video, it's on film. Well, this enhancer allows you to sharpen the picture. It allows you to adjust the color, the hue or the tint, and also the contrast and the brightness. So you can actually balance everything out before you start digitizing your 8mm films or super 8mm films. And sometimes too, it even works for videotapes that are really worn out. Say if you have a tape from like 30 years ago and it was a family party or a wedding and you want it preserved on to DVD, then what you'd want to do, the best way, before you even record it into the computer, is to balance out your colors, your sharpness, your brightness and your contrast so that it looks as natural as possible, and then start recording. And then you can always fine-tune it digitally in the computer. And that's the same with the audio too. I haven't hooked it up yet, or I haven't even brought it up to the desk yet, but I do have an equalizer, which is down here, I think. Let's see. These are the two DVD recorders that I have here. Let's see, what did I do with there's the 8-track unit. There's the equalizer right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's standing up on its side right now. But that's the equalizer, and what's unique about that one is it's a 12 band. It's not a standard 10 band or your standard 5 band. Usually 10 is the standard, but this is a 12 band. And it really, really helps to enhance poor audio quality. In other words, you can take out the hissing on old tapes without losing your highs, or you can take out rumbles without losing, the low end frequency, like for very, very old speech or, field recordings of some sort. It's really, really nice. And it's just a standard Radio Shack equalizer, but it's a 12 band. So those of you that like to preserve old media, I encourage to get that equalizer if you can find it. It's really nice. And then over there, let's see, no, right here. Right here are the reel-to-reel tape recorders. I still have to check these out. There's this one actually works good. Well, I shouldn't say it works good. It runs, but there's a lot of static on it. This one doesn't even want to run. I don't know what happened to it. The motor isn't turning it. It powers up, but it won't run. The wheels won't turn. So I got to figure out what's wrong with that one. And that one right there, this one right here, this one does work. That's the only one that works halfway decent for me. If I have to transfer any material from reel-to-reel to digital, or vice versa, to restore the analog quality of reel-to-reel tape. So that's what I've been doing pretty much of the morning. I've been trying to get everything going here and trying to get trying to get things back in order here. And this plug here is for a microphone, which I have over here. And at one point that was used when I was a disc jockey on Gemini Sounds Radio, and I was there from 2009 to the very, very, very beginning of 2012. And lately I've been using that microphone to record programming information for Unity Worldwide Radio. And you can actually find that station at unityworldwideradio.org. And what's on there is mostly inspirational music, and every Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the church service is broadcast live from Unity Center for Spiritual Living in Liberty Township, Ohio. And you can hear the service live on internet radio there. So there's the mic, and there's some speakers there, and each of those pairs of speakers are for the different computers, and that way I can monitor different things at the same time. I don't have to keep switching back and forth. And then of course, like I said, this amplifier here is the main amp, which I can monitor things or listen to things without having the PCs on. In other words, if I just want to have a cassette playing, or an 8-track playing, or reel-to-reel playing, or maybe preview a DVD or a videotape, I can just run it without having to turn on the computers, because this monitor allows me to watch video without having the computers on as well. So I'm going to continue on getting this put together, and I'll be back in a little bit and show you what I've done after that. Okay, I'm back, and it's probably about a couple hours later since I've did the first portion of this video, and as you can see, I got some of the components up. I'm still in the process of hooking up the video components, but you can see over here I have the enhancer hooked up, and there's power to it. The amplifier's hooked up, the tuner's hooked up, and the Roku XS box is connected. And then all the switches here pretty much are connected. I still have to hook up the little monitor here. And what took me a while is I had to pull out one of these PCs, because if you look under here, you can see the mess of wires there, and that is going to take probably a week to straighten out. It's going to take a couple days to tear it all apart, and then probably a week to put it all back together. So you're looking at probably about 2 weeks with this. But what I'm thinking of doing, what I would like to do to eliminate this mess is possibly get some wire tacks, wire mounts, and mount them to the wall, especially for the network cables, and then for the sound, somehow tie the wires together so that they're not all jumbled and tangled all over the place. And that's really the proper way to do it. But you almost have to do that from scratch. When you're first putting in a setup like this. And what I've done is just, over the years, I've made changes. I've done a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and never realized that, just running wires and letting wires drop, that they can get tangled within each other. And that's exactly what happened here. As you can see, everything is still working. It's just that if you try to move it or you try to reposition it, it's a big mess, and things end up falling, and they could break. And that's exactly what happened with a couple of these drives. I was trying to reach under there to get everything straightened out, and that one hard drive there, it fell off the computer and hit the floor, and thank goodness it was only the carpet. But so I'm hoping it still works, because I got a ton of data on there. That's like it's either the 2 or the 3 terabyte drive that fell. And boy, I hope there's no damage to it, because otherwise everything that's on there is gone. And I'm going to be devastated if that happened. So I gotta really start being careful on, when I work with stuff. I gotta take my time, and if I have to disconnect stuff, I gotta disconnect it, and then work with the wires after the fact, after all the components are taken apart, and disconnected from the wires. Then I can work with the wires. Now, some of the stuff, the wires are attached, and that makes it harder. So that's a big project there. But anyway, there's the computer that I had to pull out. That's PC1, and I'm going to put it back in there and test that drive and make sure that it works, and continue hooking all this up, and we'll give it a test, and I'll show you how everything functions. And the other thing that I'm thinking about doing is this Roku player over here. See, I have a Roku player over here, and I'm just wondering if I should move it back over there or leave it over here. I may just leave it over here, and if I could find the 25-foot video cable, because I do have a 25-footer, and what I could try doing is running it around the wall and go over to the media center over there, and that way I still have Roku on the big screen, as well as the little screen. Maybe what I could do, I don't know though. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Well, no, that wouldn't work, because I'd have to run 3. I'd have to run 3 25-footers. No, 2 of them. 2 25-footers. I'd have to run a 25-foot audio cable and then a 25-foot video cable to meet over there, because I would need the audio as well. Actually, I do have an audio cable running, but the last time I had the audio running from this big system over to that system over there, I was getting a hum, which was causing a ground loop. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I may just, I don't know, maybe just move that Roku back over here and have two Roku players over here. I don't know. Because see, one of them is the XX, the XS is the top of all three that I have. And that's why that one is here. Because it has, you get the most channels on it. The XR, which is the original box, that's over there. The XR, it only gets certain channels. And then I have another one, which is the later of the models. It's called the Roku 1. That's higher than the XR, but it's lower than the XS. So it's like in between, and that one is in my TV room. So I want to leave that one there and keep the top one over here. Actually, the XR one I had in the shop, but then I was finding some features on the XR that were pretty neat to have, and so I wanted to have it on the big screen. So maybe, I don't know, I'll figure it out somehow. But anyway, I'm going to get back to work here and try finishing up this setup, so then I can do some more analog to digital conversion. And also I want to get these, I got this video that I want to upload once it's done, and then I have another one that I made too that I want to upload, so that you know, you'd be able to see it. Probably I'll get this one up first and then the other one, and then that way you can see the you can see what I've been doing with the components. So I'll be back in a little bit, and we'll hopefully be able to test everything out once I get it all connected. Okay, I'm back again, and as you can see, I got the components all set up and everything seems to be working. As a matter of fact, it's about maybe 5 or 6 hours later, because it took a little bit of time to, you know, reconfigure everything, and I did some switching around too with my video senders. Before, I had the video modulator with the sending amplifier over here, but now what I've done is I've changed it and put a regular video sender here, and it works really good. It carries into the other room, which I want it to do, and that way if I'm working on a project I can monitor it in the other room without too much interference, because I was getting all kinds of interference before. And also put a new pair of speakers there that they weren't there before. Those are the surround sound speakers for the home theater system, and those are actually part of the wireless system that I have in storage. I have one wireless system up in the shop, but I have the other two in storage. But I'm just going to use those temporarily until I can find me another set that I can use for the surround. I actually have those down there that I could use, but those are bigger and they won't fit here on the desk or on the shelf, and if I stack them, then it blocks the light. You know, the light I have here, it blocks the light on these keyboards. I have that other light over there, right there, but the light would be unbalanced. It would cause a shadow on the one side if I have something stacked too high. So that's why I use those speakers, because I can put them next to each other rather than on top of each other, and that's why they would cause a shadow. But anyway, getting back to the rest of the setup, you can see I have the Radio Shack mixer, and then the 12-band equalizer. Now you can really see it really good. You can see it's got 12 bands plus 2 in the middle. 12 bands per channel, that is. And then there's 2 in the middle for leveling controls. And then over here there's various buttons for tape dubbing and equalizer recording. And that knob and the button next to it is for stereo expansion. So if I wanted to really enhance the stereo sound, I can activate that on a recording. And the way I got it set up now, which is the correct way, when the mains are equalized, I can have the computers unequalized as far as recording goes. And then if I want to equalize the computer, equalize the sound into the computer, then I can just push the record EQ button, and then that will activate it. See, before I was using the record EQ as the main bypass button, and that was wrong. But at the time I didn't know where the cables were routed, and I just was trying to get it to work. And I'm glad I took it all apart today and fixed it the way it's supposed to be. It's working a lot better. And that there, yes, that there is an 8-track player recorder by Panasonic. And there is an 8-track tape in there. It's one of my favorites. It's Abbott and Costello, the Who's On First. And I'll tell you what, they are a great comedian couple. They really know how to make people laugh. And then over here, I have the LVW 9016 light-on DVD VCR combo unit. And then on top of that is the LVW 5005 CD recorder. And then, as you saw in the beginning of the video, is the reel-to-reel tape recorder. Oh, and then of course here we can't forget this, the Optimus cassette deck, SCT-86. I don't have the 36s anymore. All 3 of the SCT-36s are gone. They all went bad. All the record decks, I tried to transplant one good recording deck into a unit that still was functioning, and after I did that and tried to test it, it just failed completely. So I decided just to get rid of all of them, because the one had power problems. I couldn't get it to power up because of a bad solder connection. The second one, as I said, it had a problem with one of the tape transports, and the third one, mistakenly, I cracked the board by missing one screw. So all 3 of those are gone. They've gone to be recycled. But that's okay, because those were good at the time, but I doubt that I'll ever get another one like those again, because if I want auto reverse, I'll find another unit that has auto reverse and works 10 times better. So anyway, back to the components here. Over here is the enhancer on the bottom, then the amplifier and matching tuner, and then the sender, as you saw a minute ago. And this little box right here, that is called Black Box, and what that allows me to do is transmit on an FM radio the sound of music, either from the computer, from a cassette, from a CD, a DVD, or any audio source. And it's up the maximum you can have it on is 200 milliwatts. But what I do is I keep it down like to about 10 milliwatts. So that way it doesn't interfere with other broadcast stations. Actually, it doesn't carry that far. I've tested the range, and it doesn't really carry that far. It's about maybe a 100-foot radius, if that. But it depends on the wattage, so that's why I keep it very, very, very low. And it's just enough to carry right outside the door, like if I want to play Christmas music outside from the computer or from a CD or a tape, I can just transmit the sound through the FM radio band, and it can play right outside the door. But if you go any further, then it doesn't come in very well at all. So that's a good thing, because these transmitters, you don't need a license for them as long as you keep them within regular FCC regulations. And that's why I'm very careful on the wattage setting. And then, of course, the boxes, all the switch boxes, and then there's the Roku XS, as seen before. And these two boxes here, I don't know if I've shown you these. These are what you call KVM switches. KVM stands for keyboard, video, and mouse for a computer. And there's two of them there because I have them tied into each other. And that's how, well, that's part of the reason how I can have all 6 of these computers on this one keyboard and one monitor and one mouse. Because there's 2 KVMs there, and then back there between the speakers is another KVM switch that allows you to hook up 4 machines. So there's 4 hooked up. Actually, there's 3 hooked up to that KVM, and then there are 2 on the top KVM and 2 more on the bottom KVM, and that's how I get 6. Because I'm using the last port, the extra port on the switch to chain link another KVM, and that's how I can have an additional computer or 2. And that's how I got 6 on there. Actually the way it's done, I didn't use 1 port, I used 2 ports off of this 4 port. Because actually when you use 1 port off of this KVM, say you use 1 port off of the 2 port for one machine, and if you just hook up another machine directly, then you only get 2 at tops. But if you chain link another 2-port KVM switch to the first 2-port KVM switch, then you can have 3 machines. Because you would switch the one switch to the setting where then you can control the other switch. I know it sounds a little complicated for those that are not technically inclined, but all you're doing is just splitting the one signal port into 2, or however many you want to split it into. And so what I've done is those 2 switches there, the one port has been split. And that's how I got 6 machines going instead of 4. Because I got 2 2s and then 1 4. And there's the 4 there again. And then over here, I don't know if you could see it, it's underneath that printer stand there, but there's another 4-port KVM which controls the 4 machines that you saw earlier. And if you didn't see the first part of the video, you just joined me. There's the 4 machines under there. And that's how I got those 4 on this workstation. And then of course this is the enhanced vision magnifier. Oh, and I want to show you something. What I did was, after I took the components apart and rewired everything to the correct function, what I did was I found another cable that goes from this magnesite or enhanced vision magnifier, and I traced it, because actually I found the cable, the end of the cable over here, and then I traced it and found it was over here. So what I did was connect it up, and now I can have the enhanced vision magnifier on this little monitor just by turning the switch. So I'm going to turn this switch. It's the second one from the bottom that controls the video sources. So I turned it, and right now there's nothing there. So let's try it again. I think I have it on input 2. Yeah, it's on input 2. And there, now you can see. Let me get something under there that you can basically see here. Trying to do all this with one hand. Hang on a second here. Okay. Okay, here's a good example. There. Okay. Now that's the CD labeled, and it's shining on this big monitor, which is the main magnifying monitor. But now I have it on this monitor as well, because with my visual impairment, it's hard for me to see a monitor on my right side. So if I need to read something, I can use this monitor with this magnifier. So I have the signal split onto 2 monitors. There it is there, and there it is there. And then this little black and white monitor, it's actually a small TV, but I use it primarily as a monitor. It's to monitor the other video senders that I have. Like, for example, there's channel 25, which is coming off of the entertainment system in the TV room. And the reason it's on 25 now is because I switched all the senders around to reduce interference. Now there's channel 16. 16 used to be in the TV room, but now I moved it in here into the studio, and what you see there is the image from my Roku player that was on this screen. In fact, let me see if I can do this. I'll show you. Let's see if I can find the switch and switch it back. There it is. And that was all done from that switch box right there, the second one from the bottom. And that, believe it or not, that's just a standard tape selector switch box, you know, for tape decks, because you would plug in the source, like your amplifier or receiver, into the main, and then you'd plug up to 3 tape decks into the other inputs and outputs. Well, I had a brainstorm, you know, many years ago, because I've had these boxes now for quite a long time, and I had a brainstorm, and I thought, gee, it's just a it's just a box with inputs and outputs, you know, jacks on it. Why can't it work for video? And so I tried it, and it works like a charm. Now, the only thing is, if I add video to the other, you know, say I put a video signal onto the other computers, like so, because now, if you look, all the switches are to the left. You know, they're all to the left. They're all pointing towards source instead of input 1, input 2, or input 3 respectively. Well, when they're all like on the source, then what happens is the video signal drops. It doesn't drop in the way of quality. What it drops in is the way of brightness. And right now I have no way of eliminating that, although the enhancer helps some. Hooking up that enhancer again does help the brightness not to go down so much when I'm recording into the computer. But what I had done this time is, if I need to turn off the other signals and just use the one signal I am for recording purposes, I don't have to worry about turning off the remote sender signal. What I did was I connected the sender directly to one of these boxes with a pigtail or a Y adapter. Actually, it's not coming from the box. It's coming from the bottom DVD player, the output of the bottom DVD player. And then that way I can watch one program on one TV in the TV room and another program on another TV in the TV room. And the other thing is, if I'm doing a project like a tape for a client and it's video and I don't want to have to sit here at the desk and watch it, I can make sure that all the signals are off in here, but the sender will still have the video signal that I need to watch remotely. In fact, let me just try something, because I don't think the black and white monitor had changed. No, it does not. So you can see, I don't know if you can see it with the camera scan lines because of the way the camera's hitting the screens. But see, I'm changing the switch back and forth, and the in-room monitor, you might say, okay, I couldn't think of the word, the main monitor changes, which it's supposed to do. That's how I wanted it to do it. But the remote doesn't change, because anything I take off of the camera that I'm using, I'm usually here watching it. And if I want to do it in the other room, then I just take the camera into the other room, because I have a computer in there, as I said, and I can just record off of that into that computer, and then burn the DVD or CD or whatever it is that I'm making, either for myself or for a client, if it's off my little camera that I'm using here to make this video. Because this is so small that it could be carried anywhere. In fact, I'm looking for the other one now. That's why you kind of just see things randomly here in the room, because I'm looking for the other camera as I speak, and I don't see it. Well, anyway, when I find it, then I'll show it to you, because I don't know if I've shown you the Pixio camera that I use now to make YouTube videos. But I mean, it really works nice, because I can take it anywhere and do all kinds of video shots or photo shots. And what's nice is you can put in a flash card, an SD card actually. It's a flash card. Well, actually I think they call it an SD card. But anyway, you can put in up to 32 gigs, and that gives you a lot of recording time. This particular card that I am using now on this Pixio, as I'm showing you all this setup, it still has over 10 hours of recording time, and that's a lot more than the battery power. And speaking of the battery power, it's about to go. So I'm going to end this video fast. So thanks for watching, and hope everybody has a great day or night whenever you're watching it, and I'll be back with more videos to come.